Of course, we're all rooting for Team USA. But if another team has your support too, you can visit your favorite World Cup team's country without breaking the bank thanks to points and miles. And forget trekking all the way there in economy. Instead of dreading a long flight, you could be celebrating your team's World Cup run in style. Let's talk how to fly there in lie flat business class seats. Now there are too many World Cup teams for one video. So let's focus on the top 10 teams that are currently projected to win according to ESPN's expert predictions. First, let's head down south to Argentina, home of one of the world's most popular national teams and also the greatest player of all time, Lionel Messi, who will likely be playing in his final World Cup game this year. Buenos Aires would be an incredible place to celebrate, and getting there happens to use one of my favorite sweet spots in all of award travel, flying on LATAM in business class, redeeming Japan Airlines miles. And even though LATAM isn't part of the One World Alliance like Japan Airlines is, you can still use Japan Airlines miles to book LATAM flights because the two airlines have a separate partnership. Here's my top trick. Normally, we recommend booking award flights as one-ways, but this is one of those rare exceptions since Japan Airlines uses a total distance-based award chart for partner bookings, so it actually prices out much cheaper when you book it as a round trip. Booking business class from Miami to Buenos Aires is only 85,000 Japan Airlines miles round trip, as compared to 60,000 Japan Airlines miles if you were to book it as a one-way. Now, LATAM can sometimes be stingy when it comes to releasing award space to partners. So if you happen to be traveling as a family, another great option is to reposition to Mexico City and fly on Aeromexico's 787 Dreamliner in business class over to Buenos Aires. You can book this for just 55,000 Flying Blue miles. Both Aeromexico and Flying Blue's KLM and Air France are part of SkyTeam, allowing for these partner award bookings. Japan Airlines miles can be a little bit harder to earn, but Flying Blue is a transfer partner to all the major banks, and they frequently have transfer bonuses throughout the year, making this deal even cheaper. That same Mexico City positioning strategy also works really well to get over to Brazil, another top World Cup contender that is led by Vinicius Jr., who is one of the most electric players in the game today. To get to Sao Paulo, you can book business class on Aeromexico for just 57,000 Flying Blue miles. Mexico City is one of my favorite gateway cities to get into South America, simply because it has great award prices, solid award availability, and also connects very well throughout different destinations in the continent. Now, if you want to depart from the US, American Airlines is usually the airline you're going to find award space with. A lot of people search directly on American Airlines and get caught up by its dynamic pricing. One day you'll find business class for 75,000 points, and another day it'll jump up to being 175,000 points. Instead, check the Alaskan Airlines Atmos Rewards program. When American Airlines opens up business class award space to its partners, that exact same AA business class seat can be booked for just 50,000 Alaskan Atmos points. But in 2026, the South American countries aren't projected to win the cup. Current odds favor teams over the Atlantic. Let's take a look at some of the best ways to get over to these European countries, redeeming your points. England, pubs on every block and Premier League matches on every TV. Now, if you've ever searched for award space to London, you probably have noticed that it's actually one of the easiest destinations to find business class seats. British Airways and Virgin Atlantic both release a large amount of award space throughout the year. Virgin Atlantic offers the cheapest long-haul business class award price in the game. The program also does work on dynamic pricing though, so on many days you'll see award flights in business class for 150,000 points, but on the rare occasion you can find the exact same award seat for as little as 29,000 Virgin points. That is the cheapest long-haul business class award redemption you will find. The catch? Taxes and fees. Expect to pay somewhere around $700 per person one way, which can really add up if you're traveling as a family. It doesn't feel nearly as much like a deal, even with the low award costs. Fortunately, there is a way around the super high taxes to London. Look at booking British Airways, but instead of booking British Airways using British Airways Avios, book the exact same seat with Cathay Pacific Asia Miles. Since both airlines are part of One World, Cathay Pacific Asia Miles can be used to book British Airways award flights. From the East Coast, business class starts at just 63,000 Asia Miles. That is more than 20,000 points cheaper as compared to booking directly with British Airways. And instead of paying over $500 in taxes and fees, you'll be paying closer to $240 in taxes and fees. And that's starting to feel more like a deal. Cathay Pacific isn't a transfer partner of every major bank, but they are a transfer partner of many of them, so there's a good chance you already have the ability to transfer over your points to Cathay Pacific. Now, unfortunately, leaving London almost always comes with higher taxes and fees. If you happen to find Saver Award space with United or American Airlines, you're still going to be paying about $400 per person in taxes and fees. But if you're traveling as a family and you want to lower those taxes and fees, a strategy that I recommend is to leave out a neighboring country such as Ireland. You can often find Aer Lingus business class award seats for 45,000 Alaska miles and only $60 in taxes and fees. Don't have Alaskan Airlines miles? You can also book directly with Aer Lingus for just 50,000 Avios plus about $220 in taxes and fees. Now that is a much better deal compared to possibly paying 2 to 3x more in taxes if you decide to depart out of London. Now let's move over to Spain, home of the tapas. Spain has one of my favorite business class award sweet spots in all of points and miles. Iberia flies non-stop from several cities to Madrid, and you can book from the East Coast in business class for as low as 40,500 Avios, and the taxes are usually just over about $100 per person. Since Avios can be transferred in from all the major credit card programs, these points are incredibly easy to earn. Low mileage costs, low taxes and fees, easy to earn points, and potentially the next World Cup champions. But Spain is actually not favored to win the World Cup right now. That would be their neighbor, France. The most common way to book business class to France is through Flying Blue. Air France regularly releases business class award seats starting at just 60,000 Flying Blue miles. The downside with Flying Blue is the taxes. Unfortunately, the taxes seem to keep getting higher and higher, especially when departing out of Paris. They're not as high as England yet, but they're not far behind at this point. You can try the trick of searching through Japan Airlines for a better deal to book an Air France award flight, but in my experience, this award space released to Japan Airlines is pretty limited. Instead, my recommendation if you want to lower the taxes and fees would be to connect to a nearby country such as Switzerland or Germany and book with Lufthansa business class or Swiss business class by using Aeroplan miles. And Germany was one of the teams in the top 10 projected to win the World Cup. Now Lufthansa's business class seats are a bit dated, but I don't think that there's a program that is more reliable when it comes to releasing cheap business class award seats to partner programs. Business class usually prices somewhere between 60,000 and 75,000 Aeroplan points, depending on the route. And for taxes, flying into Europe is usually under $100 per person, and flying back home to the United States, they're typically between $120 to $250. Very reasonable for European standards. So this strategy that I use for France is one that I use for the Netherlands and other Northern European countries. And sometimes you'll find Saver Award space on connecting flights, but there won't be any Saver Award space on non-stop flights. Keep that in mind next time you're searching. So if you're traveling as a family and you want to save on taxes, I'd strongly recommend looking at Aeroplan, especially when you're leaving Europe. Those few $100s per ticket can make a huge difference. And for those of you wondering, no, I didn't forget about Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo still has the most recognizable face in the world. And Portugal remains one of the strongest teams in the tournament. The best business class award option to get to Portugal is usually flying on TAP Air Portugal, but booking it with Aeroplan miles. The challenge is that TAP doesn't release more than one business class seats to partners very often. And if you search to book directly with TAP, you'll typically see the business class award seats priced at 145,000 miles, which is way more than I would want to spend for a business class seat over to Europe. That's why I usually recommend flying into another European gateway city instead. So fly into Madrid with Iberia, or fly into Paris with Air France, London with British Airways, and then use that same ticket to connect into either Lisbon or Porto. Of course, we're all hoping that Team USA wins it. But if another country has your support this summer, hopefully this gave you a few ideas for getting there without spending a fortune using your points and miles. And if you would like some extra help finding these deals, fill out an award booking service request form with Travel On Points, and we'd be happy to help you score some incredible seats. May the best team win, and I'll see you in the next video.